the best mappings for DJ Pro controllers. I'm DJ Spiegel Spin, and I've been using DJ Pro and controllers for over 7 years to DJ with, and I've learned the best ways to map controllers to get the full use out of the DJ Pro app, even if you're using a smaller controller like this one. So now to get started, you're gonna plug your controller into your iPad using a USB-C adapter. I'll leave a link below to a couple of them that'll make it really easy. This one actually has a port for HDMI so that you could DJ with a controller and then be plugged into a projector or a screen and play music videos and use the visualizer and stuff. But you could get a cheaper one that just goes from regular USB to USB-C. If you're using like a lightning cable device or an older device that does not have USB-C capabilities, then you're not going to be able to map controllers. You can still use controllers to DJ, but you'll be limited to the pre-mapped controllers that are out there that have already been mapped by the software. So in order to map the controller, we're going to go over here to our settings, and then we're going to go down to MIDI devices, and we're going to click on the MIDI device. And now you are in the controller mapping menu. And if you go up here, it saves all the ones that you edit. So we're going to go back to the original one, and we're going to make it our own. And you could save it for different styles. So say you're DJing hip hop and you're going to use different effects and different filters and stuff, then you could have one and you can name it. You can name it hip hop. So then you know you're DJing with hip hop. With hip hop, you plug in this controller, and then you go to that setting. If you want to do like a disco one or a dancing one, you can have a different setting or a scratch setting, however you want to set it up. So now I was really confused when I first tried to do this. I was like, how do you know which button it is? But they make it very, very simple. You just go over here and you press a button and it brings you to that configuration. So the first one that we're going to do for our example here is we're going to take the master volume and we're going to get rid of that. If you see here, it's pre-programmed to be the master volume. And if you're DJing with this controller and the iPad, you don't need to have control of the master volume through this knob. Master volume is not something that you change very often, and if you do need to change it, you got the master volume right here with these buttons, or you can do it like you're changing the volume of a video or something that you're watching on your iPad. So we're going to take the master volume controller, and now it says target is mixer. We're going to change the target from mixer to a deck. Now master volume is on the deck 1 side, so we're going to deck 1. And then action, we're going to go down. Now these are all the capabilities that you could control with this specific knob. And it's kind of amazing, like you could do so much, the possibilities are endless. So we got high EQ, low EQ, mid EQ, gain, tempo, all of the turntable controls. So you could do a bass knob, because this controller doesn't have a bass knob, and you really can't be doing like beat mixing and manual beat matching or like anything fun with, or drop mixing without a bass knob. But also it doesn't have a filter knob, and all the new controllers have a built-in filter knob. So what we can do is we could go down over here to filter. So now this control on this deck is going to control the filter on deck 1. So if we save it over here, we do done. Make sure you save it. We're going to add a little scratch track on it. Alright, and we are going to play. We're going to open up our mixer over here, and we're gonna see that the filter is on deck 1. So we go over here, and we are going to use the filter with that control. And now another one you could do on the other side is the Q level. So we could put the filter knob on there doing the same thing. We go back to mixer, and then we go to Q. And if you look right here, as soon as you open the settings, you see the PreCueing right here. So why do you need a control here that you barely ever adjust when you have it right here in the settings? So you go to MIDI device, and once you know how to do that, it takes 2 seconds to map it however you want, because you just go over here, and then you go target, deck 2, action, filter. So now you have a filter. And now they also gave you these headphone buttons. A lot of these cheaper controllers that don't have that much buttons, like the iDJ Live 2 or some of the other small Hercules controllers, or even the Pioneer DDJ 200, is that they give you these headphones. So this will switch the headphone from one deck to the other. So what we could do is we could go over here, and then we could do the same thing right here in the mixer. Down here, when you turn the headphones blue, you have switched the headphone deck. So it's not really a button that you need. And then also, when you turn the crossfader, it automatically switches the headphones. So the fact that they wasted a button for that is really stupid. So what we could do is we can go over back to settings, MIDI device, back over here, and then we can go press it, and then we could put one of our favorite effects. So now you have to choose on your own what your favorite effect is, or what's like a go-to, what you can't mix without. And for this, I'm gonna choose, so this is deck 1. I'm gonna choose deck 1. Action is gonna be over here, and we're gonna go to this one has a lot more options, as you can see. The other one had much more limited, but this one you could do a lot more. You could do the tempo, you could do BPM tap, which is cool, which will make you if you want to manually get the BPM of a song, if it's not accurate, you could tap the button with your finger to get the tempo of the song. You could do down here, you could do jump to cue, set cue points, set auto mix start point. You got all the cues down there. You could do loops with it. You could do bounce loops. So now this is very cool. You could do a 1/8 bounce loop. We're gonna save it. And what this does is it's gonna set a bounce loop, and then you could like do a transition with that. But I think what I want to do with this setting is we're gonna put an echo, because you need an echo. So we're gonna go over here, go over there, deck 1, action is going to be action is not going to be bounce loop. Let's turn that off. Action is going to be FX1 enabled. So now this is going to enable FX1. So we're going to go over here, down there. And now what we're going to have to do is go over here, and then we're going to go to effects, because you can't change the effects through the mapping menu. You have to change the effects through the regular menu. So then we're going to go over here, and echo is our effect, and we're going to start this. And then we're gonna go with echo. Echo on, echo on. So now we have an echo. So now with this controller, we have a filter, which you could use the filter as a bass knob. If you want to only play the highs, you could have the filter with the high pass, or you could have the filter with the low pass. So we have filter, and we have a bass knob, basically, and now we have a echo effect. So we have echo effect and a full controller. So now once this controller is right next to your iPad, you have all the controls on this, and then you're right here and you can do the controls that you want to with the iPad. So for like $90, you have like $1,000 controller, or something that is so much more fun to DJ with. Instead of just touching the screen, you have all your buttons and knobs here. So if you have an old controller like this, or you have one that has less buttons, you can still use that controller. You don't have to throw it out and say, oh, I want to get the new controller because it has the bass knob. You could put a bass knob on any controller, and you could also put the effects in. And if you get into using the looper, then you could use these pads to control the looper, and you could like have a kind of like a Novation Launchpad type of looper grid going. So we're gonna go over here to the looper, and then we're gonna go to settings and back to the controller. And now, so this one, target deck 1, it's gonna be target is going to be the looper, and then it's gonna be trigger sample 1, save. So now what we got is we got a kick drum going. So now we're gonna go to 2. Looper, trigger sample 2. And now we're gonna go to this side, and this side is gonna control the sampler. You see where I'm getting with this? So now we're gonna go to sampler, play sample 1. So now what's sample 1 over here? And we forgot to save it, I think. Let's go back over here. Boom, boom, boom. Sampler, left sampler, play sample 1. Let's just do sample 2. Save, done. Boom. So now we have kick drum, and then we go over here, and then we have control of
break it down, break it down.
Possibilities are pretty endless with how you want to use it. Don't think that you just have to use it as 2 decks, a crossfader, and buttons, because that's what it comes out of the box with. Use your creativity, and you have full control. Think out of the box and map the controller however you want. So thanks for watching. I make videos about DJing with different controllers, different devices, different softwares, and videos on how to DJ using an iPad. So if you like that kind of stuff, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like if you want to see a part 2.